Hello, welcome to another episode of Back to the City. Cindy Lawson, welcome Cindy Lawson, is
Thank
with me
you so much.
today.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome indeed. We're going to take a deep dive into your new record that just came out last month, Don't Come Crying to Me.
Thank you.
I'm sure that we will also dip into a few songs on the previous record just out last year, New Tricks, and we'll even bring some of the songs from those two records into conversation with the Clams. I've been immersing myself not only in your new Cindy Lawson material, but in all the songs from Exile on Lake Street, which was released back in 1988.
Yes.
Some of the themes in the new songs relate to the themes in the old songs, but there's some really interesting evolutions and juxtapositions that I think we'll be able to have some fun with.
Great.
So let's start though with the really coherent collection of songs that is this new EP that you just put out. A couple of things that emerge throughout this collection of songs are a focus on the heart in the third track, Go Find Another Heart, I'm using mine. There is a male character or in the opening lyric, I spotted you out on the run, you're the kind that steals hearts for fun. And then in the next track, I'll Be Around, a similar character cuts out your heart with surgical precision. So on the one hand, we have these male characters that steal hearts for fun and do so with surgical precision. That is not a good combination. And then on the other hand, particularly in, I think my favorite song on the record is What If She Followed Him to Nashville? And there we have the question, would it be right or would it be wrong to live inside his country song? So there I feel the character that we experience, the male character that we experience in that song isn't quite as dastardly, or perhaps isn't dastardly at all, but still there is the question, would it be right for me to resign myself? Yeah, subjugate.
Correct.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
And then that makes me think of Let Me Drive. What's the name of the Is that the name of the song? Do I have it right?
From the Clams,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, this is a pleasant country song that I could live in with you, but let me drive. It might be more fun.
Yeah.
And then back in I'll Be Around, did I hear he took your song? So this recurring metaphor of songs being things that we could live in, but there being some subjugation if I choose, as a woman, if I choose to live within some man's country song, perhaps there's opportunities for self-actualization and expression and self-empowerment that are being missed. And still in I'll Be Around, here we're addressing female friends. And the context, if I understand correctly, in that song is that this friend is on the receiving end of the dastardly male. So do you have any initial thoughts on those components of this?
Yeah, well, for I'll Be Around, I had listened to friends and their experiences, and also, it seems that there is a reckoning of women who are telling their story about back when they were taken advantage of. More and more stories are being revealed. I guess I just read one today about Puff Daddy or P. Diddy or,
yeah, I saw that too.
You know.
There is a reckoning, definitely. Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's kind of unfolded over time. I know there's definitely it's been around long enough that there's been a backlash to it of people who are calling it cancel culture and everything like that. But I am pleased to see the revelations coming out. I experienced a situation similar and have felt that there is more of a realization now that when you have people who have a lot of power over other people, that you'll have a misuse of that power. But as far as I'll be around, it was a combination of friends and acquaintances, and also women I had read about in their stories as far as being musicians and songwriters and things like that, where songs have been stolen from them. People, women whose partners walked out on them when they faced especially dire circumstances. And it just kind of all came together where I really felt like I wanted it to be known that I'm here, I'm listening to you, and I believe you, and I accept you, and if you need me, I'll be around.
Yeah. I like you were a badass then, you're a badass now.
Yeah, we tend to, or I do anyway, if something happens to me, I just tend to just go, I'm worthless, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm failing, and it's like, these are temporary setbacks. This is just a blip on the radar. You just got to keep pushing.
Yes, and to be on the receiving end of this bad behavior of another person really says nothing about oneself, of course, and one's character, and that one is and always will be a badass.
Yeah.
So I love that you choose to have the song be an address to the friend and invites a listener kind of into that intimacy. The kind of energy of love is there, and that it ends with we're joining together our black and blue hearts.
That
nice
was a great
contrast.
line. Steve Price, my producer.
I love Steve Price.
He's been amazing. It's the work he's done on my recordings and the work he does with other people.
Yeah, Mary Bew, I love the work he does with Mary.
Yeah. And the Suburbs. And he's got this tremendous pop sensibility. He pushes me, I think you can do better than that. And that's the kind of stuff I really need. You don't want to become myopic in, and I don't want to have things be mediocre, and he pushes.
So that imagery there of the black and blue hearts joining together, did Steve have a role in the refinement of that imagery?
Yeah, I was trying to explain to him, I was trying to come up with a good last line, and he came up with that last line, which I thought it's brilliant, because we are. I mean, that is the whole point of the song. We got a band together.
Yes, this intentional coming together as opposed to the fragmentation, the song being taken away, for example, right at the beginning of the song. And Steve is credited for background vocals, percussion, hand claps, additional musicality, and finesse.
Oh, he is nothing if not total finesse.
Yes. So he produced the record with you?
He produced both.
This and New Tricks.
Yes. And he's tremendous to work with. He's very honest. He works really hard. He's really smart. And I've been so thankful to not only work with him, but to also be his friend and a fan of his. I wanted to tell you, you had mentioned about what if she followed him to Nashville.
Yes.
So I turned 62 last month in October.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. You look back on your life and the different paths you could have taken.
Yep.
things get revealed to you as you get older. You know, you meet up with people that you maybe knew years ago, and they go, oh, you know, I always thought blah, blah, blah. You know, they fill in parts, and you're like, wow, if I had known that then, you know, would I have taken a different path or things like that? So that was just purely a song written from a place of, you know, there were opportunities, and what if I had taken that opportunity? And you don't want to think, you know, you don't want to, or I don't want to, I should say, feel regret about things I didn't choose, because you never know how they would have turned out. And this particular situation, who knows how would it have turned out? I mean, it could have been something that would have led me down a path to destruction, or you know, and it's just fun to reminisce and to think about it and just be grateful.
It seems essentially you had, is it autobiographical then? You had an opportunity to move with someone to Nashville.
Yeah.
What would have happened? Had you done that?
And the idea of subjugating yourself to a different person.
So being a secondary character alongside someone else's path is generally not a good idea to prioritize over following one's path. I'm glad I chose the path that I chose, because then it brings me here now. Precisely, yeah.
You know, and now I'm just in a really great place.
You are, yeah. According to Samantha Fisher, and I agree, because Samantha Fisher from Carolina. After a decades-long hiatus, Lawson is back with a new record, new tricks, and a fresh approach to creating and performing original music. I was interested if you could expand a little bit on, from your perspective, what the nature of the fresh approach is, but also along those lines, Lord Rutledge, I like this one even better, for Faster and Louder, says that far from a postscript on Lawson's musical career, New Tricks, which is of course the first of the two new records, represents its rebirth, because now you have not only that voice, which you've always had, and not only the talent, but there is, I think, this kind of confident wisdom. Obviously, you know, one hopes that as we, if we are committed to our path and we're experiencing our lessons, then we're growing and evolving, and so there is this new kind of sprinkling of wisdom alongside the attitude and the character that there's always been. So do you have any thoughts on what the nature of this fresh approach to creating and performing original music is, and how would you, the reborn Cindy Lawson and band, how would you relate that to, or compare it to, contrast it with the Claps?
I think when you're in your 20s, you're reaching for this very indefinable goal that's out there that you don't know what it looks like really, but you just know that it's out there somewhere. In the Clams, we were very democratic among the four of us. But we also happened to be, when all of us were going in one direction, that was great, but it was really hard when we were all going in different directions and had different feelings, because we just didn't have the maturity to disagree.
That's a more complicated situation than should I follow my path or should I be a secondary character in this guy's past?
Yeah.
Should I? Because
Yeah.
there's 4 women that are all intentional and not at high risk of there's everyone is committed to following their path, but the 4 of you need to collaborate and let me ride. If everyone is saying let me ride, let me drive,
Exactly.
everyone's saying let me drive, then yeah, one needs some. It takes some time for the conflict resolution skills to evolve.
Well, and we didn't really have someone who was knowledgeable and forward-thinking to tell us, you have to write and record more. We only recorded 2 singles and 1 EP. And I think it was because we just loved playing out so much. We spent a lot of energy playing out because you get that live, you get that gratification right away, and it keeps you going.
Yep.
But like
the crazy
I said,
boys follow you.
Huh?
The crazy boys
Yeah.
who don't have any money, so you have to put them on the list.
But
they know all
it's
the
like-
words to the songs. That's fun.
Yeah, but it's like I said, it's a myopic thing because here you are, you're all excited because you get people all happy and you've got this high playing these shows at the Uptown Bar.
Yeah.
But there wasn't anybody there to say, you need to document this. You need to document this history. And so I look back now and I'm thinking, yeah, I wish we would have learned to really push it and learn how to disagree with each other. And I wish we would have recorded more.
Yeah.
We had been living in each other's pockets for a couple years. So by the end, we were hating each other. And instead of saying, let's take a break for 6 months, let's just not get together, let's take a break, let's, find out
pause.
where we're at.
There's a lot of wisdom in pressing pause, I think.
Yeah.
That's a metaphor in the book Radical Acceptance that I really like and find useful.
Yeah.
So present you, if you found yourself in the pockets of the other band members and everyone being a bit agitated with one another, would
Yeah.
say, let's take a short break.
Yeah, we never did. We just kept pounding. We just kept going at it. And I still kind of feel that now if I see a calendar and I don't see a bunch of gigs lined up. However, what's happening right now is the songs from the EP are being played. They, in the last 2 months, been played over 50 times on Sirius XM, on Little Steven's Underground Garage, getting
Coolest
play
songs
on,
in the world.
Yeah,
That's-
coolest songs in the world.
That's something.
Isn't that crazy? But it's like, I have to remember that recording and documenting it's lasting and it's the way to go, even though, you get that selfish, immediate gratification from a show.
And a lot of the Clams music is celebrating immediacy and being in the moment.
Yeah.
I referenced Crazy Boys, which is there's a song called Crazy Boys, which is celebrating exactly this kind of moment. There being the fans who know all the words and are at all the shows, in large part because you put them on the list because they can't afford to go otherwise. And that's the fact that song says, we love the Crazy Boys, and also the song says, never tell them that they're living in a make-believe world. It's, I think, very interesting. And there's this extra level now where you're reflecting on yourself your young self and the other members of the clams. And there's an ability to course correct and recalibrate that comes with age. If one is in the exciting situation of performing lots at the Uptown Bar with the Crazy Boys singing along in a band that feels very exciting and empowering to be performing with, then that's an ideal situation to be able to apply the course correction thing. Okay, but the fact that what do you think about the fact that they're addressed to the boys, the fans? There is simultaneously this love for them, and this, okay, but we better not burst their bubble, because they don't have any money, and they could do some course correction. And what do you think of the combination of this love and this, okay, maybe someone ought to give them a dose of reality?
Because we sent out postcards a lot.
Were they like flyers? Or
just like postcards with our pictures on them.
Oh, sure.
And
like for promotional, here's the cool new band.
This was back in the, like I said, in the 1900s, things were done by mail. We'd send out postcards to people who were on our mailing list. Again, an ancient concept, and to hear that somebody would say, "Oh yeah, I've had your picture on my wall," and it's kind of a weird thing to think that you're hanging up on somebody's wall,
right? Being idolized.
Yeah, because that isn't real.
Exactly. It's a fantasy, but it's a fantasy that one has chosen to kind of create about, and it's not necessarily bad by virtue of being a fantasy, but you're aware and wary. Like, okay, well, how do I want to exist in relation to this fantasy? In Run Baby Run, we experience a man who's been left waiting in the bar, and the jukebox was playing "Only Love Can Break Your Heart," Neil Young.
Yes.
Is that so? Neil Young covers it, perhaps? Or
what is that? Only love can break your heart.
There's a Neil Young version, but now I come to think of it, I'm unsure whether that's the original.
I can't think of it now.
But that's the song. We know that it's the same song with the same melody. So the jukebox was playing that song, "Only Love Can Break Your Heart," and I thought that's a start. So this is an interesting start. Now we've got that man who's been left in the bar. There's an alternative reality where we meet that man in the bar, something happens with that man, but instead, for a start, we run away from him, perhaps with good reason. The song implies with good reason, because I've got no time to waste on a boy with a pretty face. But it's interesting to take that figure and that story and bring it into conversation with songs like "What If She Followed Him to Nashville," where we have a shyly grinning troubadour steals right through the entry door. So there, we haven't left the figure waiting. We've encountered the figure, like come into the door to where we are. With them, we have the opportunity to witness them. It's quite a likable figure, this troubadour, shyly grinning. It wouldn't be terrible if one went off with him. But instead, by the end of the song, the troubadour by the entry door is singing in her heart forevermore, which is just, again, an interesting juxtaposition with the other guy who, for fun and with surgical precision, removes hearts. We have this shyly grinning guy. He hasn't been abandoned in the bar. We've communicated with him a bit. We've decided not to go with him. So what do you think about the contrast of these two guys? The troubadour who shyly grins as he's coming through the door, and then the guy in Run Baby Run who we've just left listening to the jukebox in the bar.
I think that it all comes down to a matter of choices and agency and things like that. And being able to have enough trust in yourself to decide what is the best step for me to take, what is the decision that is going to get me closer to what I need to do in my life.
Yeah, totally.
It's plus in the Clams, we were kind of really loving that kind of idea that we were kind of a quote unquote love 'em and leave 'em.
Yes.
You know?
We pretended to be the bad girls.
Yeah.
We wanted to know just how it
exactly.
feels. That's some quote in the opening track to New
Yeah.
Tricks.
No, it's true. And whereas the person looking back on in the Nashville song, it's more of a contemplation on you know, choices made in the past
Yeah.
and you know, more of an honest review.
It's nuanced,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. And once given a chance, the character gives themselves a chance to get to know this guy a little bit more before applying discernment and deciding, well, wouldn't be so bad, but I need to have more agency than choosing to go to Nashville with
Yeah.
this guy would involve. I do like that the piano is such an important feature on that song, and that is John Duncan.
Yes, John Duncan from Trailer Trash, amazing pianist, and you know, Steve Price plays in Trailer Trash, so that was the connection there. Plus, also a good friend of Jerry Lefkowitz's. So yeah,
Who
I was
went to
so
Nashville.
pleased. Pardon me?
Jerry, who
Jerry. Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think what he played was just glorious.
Me too. And I love that this song poses the question, would it be right or would it be wrong to live inside his country song? And I think because of the attention that's being paid to the instrumentation, the song sounds different in a way that fits with the nuance of the kind of the existential questions that are being raised about agency and so on. The fact that the song sounds a little bit more like a country song, or that there's at least this very distinct piano that's absent on all the other songs.
True.
It's a nice quality.
Yeah, I really wanted it to sound like a country song.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully coming somewhat close. I know that country music, you know, that pure, really sweet, genuine, heartfelt country music.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a thing that a lot of people can do, but the ones who do it well are fantastic.
Yes.
So yeah, I wanted it to be a little country
And it has those
tinged.
qualities that fit with the vulnerability and the more nuanced reflection on life.
Yep, absolutely.
So if there it's the piano, that's the distinctive feature. We have the wonderful Matt Paul saxophone on Go Find Another Heart to Break.
Yes.
And then we have Dave Randall's harmonica
Yep.
on Screamin' White Jesus.
Yes.
I find Screamin' White Jesus such an interesting song because if in many of these other songs we have these charismatic male figures.
Yeah.
We have that too here, but it's it's Screamin' White Jesus this time round, and we're inviting Screamin' White Jesus to baptize us in his holy sweat, and to show us who's boss. So
I love that.
am I hearing the lyric right that the devil's horns are masked?
Matt's got the devil horn, Matt Paul.
Yes.
So, yes.
Oh, the horn, like the
Yes.
yeah, like the saxophone.
The
like
saxophone is the
brass
devil's
instrument.
horn.
Yeah.
Yes. He and Matt is going to be playing with us at the record release,
right, yes,
which
yes.
is fantastic. The whole song is about a band that I saw for the first time probably end of 2021 at Mortimer's. I don't know what other band I was there to see. It could have been the Toxines. I'm not sure, but the Unnamed came on to play.
I know the Unnamed.
And I was amazed. There was Carol Cunnington in like an evening gown playing keyboards, looking, regal and gorgeous. And then there's Matt up there with the saxophone.
Yeah,
and
Matt's
then
excellent.
there's this crazy guy with wild hair wearing a suit and a tie, singing about polyamory and let's scare the squares. And I mean, it had this, there was a sing-along quality along with kind of a Roxy music when you throw in the saxophone that was there.
Yes.
And it was just, I was blown away. And I loved the character of Eric Levy, who is, the main singer in that band, because his hair was all crazy and he looked like the pictures of those white, blue-eyed Jesus.
Yeah, the way in which many Americans...
When I was growing up, those pictures,
picture Jesus, yeah.
And I grew up Catholic, going to Catholic Mass and Catholic Church, and I just wanted to play with that idea of getting baptized in the sexy sweat of a sexy white Jesus.
If we take it as a given that, of course, Jesus isn't white.
Newsflash.
Yes.
Jesus was not white, and
but this guy fronting this band seems like that character in popular culture.
The 1960s version of a white screaming sexy Jesus.
Yes.
The whole band is sexy. They're gorgeous people singing amazing songs, and they're the best. I love them.
Yeah, and that brings the sexiness to this song too. Of course.
It's all about the sexiness. I'm trying to bring the sexy back.
What? It's never gone away. You always had it with you.
Nice. Thank you.
You're very welcome.